because I've done it before. Understanding how to secure a border because I've actually done it before. Understanding national security from a strategic to a tactical standpoint because I've actually had to lead in combat before. We need more combat veterans on the floor of the U.S. Senate. People who are not going to use vets as a political prop, but who have brothers and sisters who have served and are currently serving and have an obligation, not an option, to continue our service to them who are serving us so well. I believe we need to have somebody who understands how to create economic opportunity. It's not just about jobs, people. Jobs are the result. But because of failure in Democrat management for years and years and years, we have failed our children in the public school system. In K through 12 education, we've failed our kids. And when you take a look at higher education, the liberal indoctrination machine has taken over colleges all over the country. And as a result, you have kids, and the thing is, it's education when you teach people how to think. It's indoctrination when you teach them what to think. And that's exactly what's going on here. We need to call it for what it is and stand up and look at creating an economic opportunity that cannot be found when you're creating a dependent society. We the people not only have the right, we have a responsibility to be free because we need to preserve this for ourselves and what? Our posterity. That's what it says in the Constitution. We owe this to future generations. But our Constitution is under attack. The idea that I swore my life to requires me to stand up again in service of this great nation. That's why I'm doing this, for no reason of my own, because I trust me. I have two beautiful little boys and a gorgeous wife. I'm here by the grace of God and my patient wife, and I owe that to them. But I'm telling you, faith and family, God and country, and service before self are my core values. And I'm doing this again because the same reason that I went to serve is the same reason that I came back to serve, because I'm over fighting in Iraq for Iraqi freedom, and I didn't feel like there were enough folks back here fighting for Michiganders. I'm over in Iraq, and I'm watching the Armed Forces Network, 07-09, of areas that were hit hard by the economic recession, but people didn't realize that we've been hit hard by a declining economy for decades. For decades. This wasn't new. This is just when the world took notice. This is just when the world realized that we've been failed by our political officials. This is just when the world realized what happened. But I'm seeing this, and I'm fighting in a combat zone, and I see areas of home, Flint, Detroit, Pontiac, Saginaw, Benton Harbor, and the list goes on. Areas, rural and urban, that look worse than the combat zone I'm flying in. And I'm asking myself, why are all these phones going off? But then, when I'm over in Iraq, you're supposed to laugh at that. If we can't have fun, why are we doing this? Right? Now, the thing is, I'll never take myself too seriously. Because we're all human. We're all brothers and sisters. And I truly think that we can't take ourselves too seriously, but we have to take seriously what's going on in our country. And when you have priorities that are so misaligned, understanding that the results of decades of mismanagement and neglect, we are seeing that at home. And I came back to address that in what little way I could. I went and I joined the family business, headquartered in Detroit, Southwest Detroit, we'll get back to that. Headquartered in Detroit, and I helped grow the family company from 35 million to 137 million, and created over 100 jobs in Michigan and east of the Mississippi. Because what people needed at that time was an opportunity. They didn't need a handout. They needed a hand up. See, the thing that Democrats don't quite realize is, or I'll say the Democrat leadership. I want to be fair. The thing Democrat leadership doesn't quite realize is we don't want free stuff. We want a fair shot. And that's what's most important. We were promised life, liberty, and what? The pursuit of happiness. And when you take away that pursuit of happiness, then you take away the root of the value that people feel. And what you do is you create a dependent society. A dependent society that continually looks for others for blame and also for help. But like I said, we have an obligation to be free. We need to look first to our God and then to ourselves and then to our neighbors to pull ourselves up. But we need to make sure that if you're expecting someone to pull them up from the bootstraps, they got to have boots. And understanding at the lowest levels what people need in order to survive and thrive. Understanding in the real world, running a business in Detroit, you understand that it's not just about the job, but people got to get there. Understanding how people live in real life. If you're a single mother with 3 kids and you wake up and you have to go to work and one of your kids is sick, guess what? You can't just drop your kids off at your mama's house because somebody has to watch that baby. Because your mom is already watching 3 other kids. What are we doing in the situation to make sure that everybody can have access to the American dream? What are we doing to enable that employer to be able to make the decisions that they need to be able to make for their workforce? Because the employer cares about their workforce, right? I run a business, and so understanding people on an elemental level is not just the attitude. It's about making sure we tear down barriers for people and businesses to continue to compete and thrive. But I believe that Democrat leadership is less concerned with allowing individuals to compete and thrive than to making sure they stay in office. See, the thing is, Democrats have no idea. I need to correct myself. Democrat leadership has no idea. The progressive leadership has no idea how to lead or free people. Because in order to do what they need to do, they need people to sign away their rights and for them to think for them. We need to be able to think for ourselves. And so understanding that creating economic opportunity requires us to tear down barriers for people to be successful. And we also need to understand what it takes to keep people safe. And I believe that these are the critical issues of our young country's existence. And I'm excited to stand before you here, share a few laughs, share a lot more information, and be open, honest, and transparent about my positions on things. I'm out there. I was in West Branch earlier, Bay City. Now I'm here, and I'm going to be in Detroit tonight, and I'm going to be out west the rest of the week in Lansing. I'm going all over the state because I believe it's very, very important. It's not about me. It's about we. It's about all of us. And